Melodee Ilani Meza was born on February 10th, 2016 in Santa Maria, California to parents Ashley Buzzard and Rubiel Meza. Rubiel was a motorcycle enthusiast and part of a large, loving family. He also went by the nicknames Chino and Pinoy. Additionally, he had a daughter from a previous relationship named Karina Meza. Ashley Buzzard's life, however, was the exact opposite. She had a troubled childhood and struggled with her mental health. Her father was emotionally, verbally, and physically violent and took drugs regularly. In an effort to escape that environment, Ashley and her mother, Lori Miranda, left the home in Orange County. At the time, Ashley was just 9 years old.
In 1995, the Santa Maria Times interviewed Lori and published her story in an article titled Lessons from the School of Hard Knocks. The article talked about how Lori fled her home with no car, no job, and nothing but $40 to her name. Even so, she wasn't let down and saw an opportunity to start a new life over. Lori recalled how it was living with her ex, saying, "He told me I was nothing and that I'd always be nothing, but I knew I could be something." Before finally leaving for good, Lori and Ashley had moved from place to place in an attempt to escape Ashley's father. But he would constantly follow Lori and Ashley just to hurt them. Lori said he would smash our windows and harass us. But by June of 1994, Lori had finally mustered up enough courage to live on her own, even if it meant becoming homeless. She boarded a bus, briefly staying with a relative in Grover Beach for about a month before eventually heading to Santa Maria. Once there, she spent a short time at the Good Samaritan shelter located on South Pine Street. During that period, Lori took on odd jobs and saved enough money to secure an apartment for herself and Ashley, which she shared with a roommate. Lori said she wanted to return to school and find steady work, but for a long time, she had relied on her former partner for financial support. She also acknowledged struggling with drug addiction in the past, but said she later got sober and went on to earn her GED. After settling in Santa Maria, Lori enrolled Ashley at Miller School. For about 2 hours after school each day, Ashley participated in the Homeless Education Liaison Project. The program was run by the Santa Barbara County Education Office and provided tutoring and support for school-aged children with limited resources. Although life was slowly improving, settling into this new environment was especially hard for 9-year-old Ashley. While describing her early days in Santa Maria, she said, "I was so scared. I knew no one here. I felt very uncomfortable." According to later reports from Melodee's paternal relatives, Ashley also had a contentious relationship with her own mother, Lori. This might be the reason why she filed a petition for emancipation when she was in 11th grade at Santa Maria High School. The request was denied, however, as the judge noted that Ashley was still living with Lori and had not provided sufficient documentation regarding her income and living expenses.
Regardless, it was widely known that Ashley had struggled in many aspects of her life. She was often described as extremely introverted and socially awkward. Still, there seemed to be something about Rubiel that allowed her to open up. The two reportedly shared a relationship, at least for a brief time. Rubiel's mother, Lily, however, did not approve of her son's new partner. Recalling the first time she met Ashley, Lily said, "When I met her, my son brought her to the house. She looked so quiet and she was following me with her eyes back and forth. And I told my son, 'Son, is this girl okay? She doesn't look like she's normal. Something's wrong with this lady.'" Lily had the impression that Ashley was mentally ill. According to Karina, her dad had even told her about his new partner's mental health challenges. Karina later described her father's relationship with Ashley as on and off. Additionally, Melodee's aunt, Elizabeth Meza, later revealed that before Melodee was born, Ashley had another daughter with a former partner. That child was eventually removed from Ashley's custody and placed in the father's care.
On February 10th, 2016, Ashley and Rubiel welcomed a baby girl that they named Melodee. Around this time, Ashley started living with Rubiel's family. They welcomed her with open arms. For a brief moment, life appeared normal. But just 6 months after Melodee's birth, Rubiel died in a motorcycle accident, and after his death, Ashley spiraled. Karina later recalled, "She was very devastated when my dad passed. My grandma was the one who would keep in contact with her, and she would allow my grandma to see the baby sometimes. So then I would go to my grandma's house and see Melodee. She did attend the funeral, but she was very to herself. I'm sure she was very hurt. Ashley is someone who kind of keeps to herself. She doesn't talk much or anything." Although Ashley maintained limited contact with Rubiel's family for a short time, That communication eventually dwindled to almost nothing. Ashley was also in serious financial trouble, and by 2017, she had filed for bankruptcy. Rubio's family wanted to care for Melodee, but Ashley did not allow it.
Around 2020, Ashley was hospitalized for undisclosed mental health reasons. According to Elizabeth, Ashley had previously crashed her car while Melodee was inside, and she believed the crash was intentional. During the time that Ashley was hospitalized, Melodee's uncle, Marvin Meza, took care of her and was also her legal guardian. Lily also attempted to gain custody of the toddler. However, that effort never resulted in a long-term placement. Eventually, when Ashley was released from the hospital, she pulled Melodee out of her school and cut off all contact with Melodee's paternal family. According to Elizabeth, her family was told by the state that Melodee would be placed with a family that she had previously stayed with. Where that family lived or what the living conditions were like was never disclosed by the state. Karina, however, said that Melodee was briefly placed with one of Ashley's friends before eventually returning with her mother. Lily said Ashley isolated her daughter from the entire world. She even filed a restraining order against Lily, completely preventing her from seeing her granddaughter. Ashley even went as far as changing Melodee's last name from Meza to Buzzard. Elizabeth later told Nancy Grace that the last time she saw Melodee was around 2021.
I knew and I let him know that the last time physically we seen her, the family, was about 4.5 years ago when her mom brought her to my mother-in-law's house for us to see her. And at that time, Nancy, she was acting very strange. She had shaved her head down. I mean, she had like a buzz cut and she had a hoodie on. The mom, Ashley, did. And she was acting very strange, and my mother-in-law had told her, if you want to leave her here, she could stay here, because she was playing with my kids. And Ashley looked and she said, I can't do this. And she grabbed her and they left. And that was the last time that we seen her.
Even though Melodee had spent very little time with her paternal family, it was enough for them to remember her clearly. Lily described her granddaughter as a very happy baby, always smiling, very smart. Melodee's uncle Marvin said she was a happy little girl. She loved life. She liked to dance around and whatnot. According to Karina, Melodee was interested in girly things. She liked Frozen. She liked puppies.
Meanwhile, Ashley chose to distance her daughter from her loving family and instead relocate her to the nearby neighborhood of Vandenberg Village. There, the mother and daughter lived in a single-story house. Despite cutting ties, Ashley would still occasionally visit Lily to ask for money. Financially, her situation only worsened. According to court records, Ashley had 5 collection accounts and 1 small claims lawsuit for alleged unpaid debts filed in Santa Barbara County Superior Court. According to Mars Avenue residents, she largely kept to herself. On the rare occasions Ashley needed to leave the house, usually to access the garage, which could only be accessed from outside, she would lock the security door behind her to ensure Melodee stayed inside. Neighbors said she was rarely seen. She avoided interaction with anybody and forced Melodee to do the same. She didn't even go out to buy groceries herself. She ordered everything online from Walmart and only opened her door to collect deliveries. This behavior alone should have been more than just a red flag for CPS, but somehow Melodee was allowed to live with her mother. Now, contrary to widespread assumptions that Melodee had been homeschooled for most of her life, Ashley never filed the paperwork to do so. In August of 2025, Ashley enrolled Melodee in an independent study program through Lompoc Unified School District. The program allowed for remote learning, with teachers monitoring attendance and assignments. This would be the first school-based program Melodee had been enrolled in for years, but she never actually attended. According to a statement from the Lompoc Unified School District, Ashley and Melodee visited Mission Valley Independent Study School in August to begin the enrollment process, but Melodee never returned to pick up her assignments. On October 14th, the school contacted the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office requesting a welfare check. What began as a routine welfare check would first turn into a missing persons investigation, and ultimately into a murder case.
When deputies from the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office went to Ashley's home, she refused to cooperate with law enforcement. According to responding deputies, Ashley was unable to provide a verifiable explanation for her daughter's whereabouts. Investigators then began conducting background checks. They interviewed neighbors and reviewed surveillance footage in an effort to determine the last confirmed sighting of Melodee. They also contacted Melodee's paternal family, and they were shocked to learn that they had not seen her in nearly 4 years.
Meanwhile, Melodee's half-sister Karina went to Ashley's home in Vandenberg Village to ask about Melodee's whereabouts. Karina described the interaction saying, "I did go to Lompoc. I knocked on Ashley's door. She told me, 'Why now? Why do you want to be part of her life now?' And I explained to her we had no contact information for you or an address. And she said there was a reason for that she kept that information from the family. Before she went into the house, I asked her if she could tell me where Melodee is, if she's okay, and she ignored me. And right before she closed the door, she said, 'I hope you and your kids are doing well.'" At the same time, law enforcement agencies were doing everything they could to locate Melodee alive. Sheriff Bill Brown released a statement reading, "The Sheriff's Office shares the community's concern for Melodee's safety and is committed to bringing her home. We are grateful to the media for disseminating Melodee's photo and the information surrounding her disappearance far and wide, which we hope will help us solve this perplexing case. We are hopeful that Melodee might be with someone, perhaps an extended family member or friend, who may not be aware of the circumstances of her disappearance." Detectives also released missing persons flyers for Melodee, describing her as a 9-year-old girl, approximately 60 pounds, 4 foot 6 inches tall with brown hair and brown eyes.
On October 18th, the FBI officially joined the investigation. What they uncovered was nothing short of bizarre. Although Ashley did not own a vehicle, investigators discovered that she had recently rented one on October 7th. CCTV showed Ashley renting a 2024 Chevy Malibu bearing California license plate number 9MNG101. Melodee can be seen standing right beside her, wearing a wig and a hoodie. Ashley herself appeared to be wearing a wig as well. Detectives believe that disguises were used in an attempt to alter their appearances and avoid being tracked. When Melodee's Aunt Elizabeth was shown the image, she recognized Melodee by her nose since it resembled her father's. However, Melodee's grandmother Lily expressed concern over how much Melodee had changed. She said, "If I were to see her in the street, to be honest with you, I would never recognize her. She looks so different, lost a lot of weight and no hair." The same Ashley who rarely stepped outside to do her own groceries then went on a multi-state road trip, traveling as far as Nebraska, with a return route passing through Kansas. It took more than a dozen agencies, including FBI field offices in 7 cities, to fully map Ashley's movements. Detectives also believe Ashley swapped the rental car's license plate with a fake New York plate, numbered HCG 9677. On October 9th, Melodee was reportedly captured on surveillance video near the Colorado-Utah border. When Ashley returned home the following day, Melodee was no longer with her. The Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office later released a map showing the route investigators believe Ashley took during the 4-day road trip, covering up to 3,000 miles. Throughout the road trip, Ashley was seen repeatedly changing disguises. Detectives also discovered that she would back her car into gas stations in an apparent attempt to avoid surveillance cameras. The sheriff's office later addressed this behavior in a news release, stating, "This change in appearance is believed to have been intentional to avoid recognition during travel."
On Friday, October 24th, roughly 24 people gathered on Mars Avenue for a candlelit vigil in Melodee's honor. They prayed and passed a flame from one white candle to another as soft music played. Melodee's Uncle Marvin spoke briefly during this vigil, admitting he felt frustration and bitterness over how the courts had handled Melodee's case years earlier. He said, "Had the court left Melodee with us, she wouldn't be missing. Our kids are doing good. As parents, we can say they are doing well." On October 30th, FBI agents and sheriff's deputies executed additional search warrants at Ashley's home, a storage unit she had rented, and her rental vehicle. Inside the home, detectives recovered a spent bullet casing. A similar round was also found inside the rental car. The casing was referred to the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, a national database operated by the ATF. Despite this, Ashley continued to remain uncooperative. Because investigators still lacked enough evidence to formally detain her or bring charges against her, all they could do was place her under 24/7 surveillance. Then on November 6th, Ashley allegedly held a man inside her home against his will. This man, whom we'll refer to as TB for his privacy, identified himself as a legal document assistant, process server, mandated reporter, and perceived officer of the court. After learning about Melodee's disappearance, he went to Ashley's home to offer help. But according to TB, the situation quickly took a disturbing turn. He wrote, "During an interaction at her residence, the situation escalated. Ms. Buzzard became visibly distressed after sharing information she appeared to regret disclosing. A box cutter was produced, and despite multiple requests to be allowed to exit the home, I was not immediately permitted to leave. The door was secured by several locks, which delayed my ability to exit. This incident was reported to law enforcement." On Wednesday, November 12th, Ashley was arraigned in court on the false imprisonment charge and entered a not guilty plea. The judge ordered her released under strict conditions, including the use of a GPS monitor, no possession of weapons, and no contact with the alleged victim. Meanwhile, TB expressed his frustration over how the case had unfolded in an email, saying, "I have no further comment regarding Ashley Buzzard's arrest. I made one brief statement that has since been misrepresented, taken out of context, and used as fuel for speculation. I am the victim in this matter, and I am entitled to privacy. I was assured my name would remain confidential. The district attorney chose otherwise." What's circulating now, particularly on Facebook and TikTok, is not facts. It is fiction, assumptions, AI-generated content, and manufactured narratives from people who do not know me and have no actual information. I have fully cooperated with law enforcement, including providing all information I had. My only hope is that the FBI and police are able to use it to help bring Melodee home. This has never been about me. It will never be about me. The only priority that matters is Melodee. She deserves attention, urgency, and focus. On November 20th, during Ashley's preliminary hearing, a judge dismissed the false imprisonment charges. Audio of a conversation between Ashley Buzzard and TB was played in court, leading the judge to conclude that TB's account was inconsistent. Additionally, there was insufficient evidence to move the case forward. Ashley's ankle monitor was removed, and she was released.
Meanwhile, Melodee's paternal family grew increasingly worried about her. They gave interviews and made public pleas for Melodee's safe return. Lily said, "I'm having a hard time sleeping. My baby is missing. I don't know what to tell you. It has been very hard for all of us." In the corner of her living room, Lily had set up a shrine for her missing granddaughter. It held photos of Melodee with her late father Rubiel, a picture of Melodee smiling as a toddler, and a large black Bring Her Back poster that Lily had previously carried to a prayer vigil. With Thanksgiving approaching, the rest of the house was decorated with ceramic pumpkins and strings of orange and gold foliage. As a mother of 6 with many grandchildren and great-grandchildren, Lily had always loved celebrating the holidays with her entire family. But knowing that one of her granddaughters was missing, it didn't feel the same. Lily remained hopeful that Melodee would be found alive. She ignored the internet trolls and armchair detectives who claimed the little girl was already dead, saying, "I know that maybe somebody out there in the world knows where my baby is. Somebody has to know."
Ultimately, the most critical break in Melodee's case came on December 6 from an unsuspecting couple in Wayne County, Utah. The pair had been traveling along a quiet dirt road hoping to take pictures, but instead, they stumbled upon the decomposing body of a young girl partially concealed among dry brush. Deputies from the Wayne County Sheriff's Office responded to the scene near the 3300 block of East State Route 24. The child's remains were recovered and sent for forensic examination. Investigators also retrieved spent cartridge casings. On December 8th, Wayne County officials notified the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. At the time, authorities had determined that the remains belonged to a young girl who had died from a gunshot wound to the head. On December 17th, the ATF compared the cartridge casings recovered in Utah to a casing previously found inside Ashley Buzzard's home. This analysis revealed a direct match. Investigators determined that the route Ashley traveled during her unusual multi-state journey aligned perfectly with a remote location where the body was discovered. On December 22nd, the FBI crime lab confirmed the truth that the remains recovered in Utah were a familial DNA match to Ashley Buzzard. According to the lab's findings, 9-year-old Melodee died from a fatal gunshot wound to the head. Investigators believe that she was killed in October, around the same time Ashley embarked on the 4-day road trip with her daughter. Law enforcement officials concluded that this killing was intentional. The following morning at approximately 7:51 a.m., deputies from the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office, assisted by the FBI, served both search and arrest warrants at Ashley's residence in Lompoc. She was taken into custody and booked into the Santa Barbara County Northern Branch Jail on charges of first-degree murder. Later that day, during a news conference, Sheriff Bill Brown stated, "Maternal filicide is rare and always difficult to comprehend. But this level of criminal activity is particularly shocking given the calculated, cold-blooded, and criminally sophisticated premeditation and heartlessness that went into planning it, and the ruthlessness that went into actually committing the crime. Sheriff Brown also said that investigators had a substantial amount of evidence that could prove Ashley's guilt.
The development was devastating for the community, especially for Melodee's family. For weeks, everyone had hoped to find Melodee alive, but that hope had been shattered. Now, the only form of closure left for the family and the community rested within the state's court system.
Especially that tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and, I have the rest of the grandkids coming home. I got a phone call from Officer Oliver to let me know that the baby was gone, that she's over there with her dad now. And it was a shocker to me. He said, I call you for respect because you're the grandma, and to let you know that the baby's no longer here.
On Friday, December 26th, Ashley appeared before Santa Barbara County Superior Court Judge John McGregor in a Santa Maria courtroom alongside her attorney, Adrian Galvin. The courtroom was filled with members of Melodee's family. Pink bows were also shared in her memory among those watching the proceedings via the court Zoom live stream. The criminal complaint against Ashley alleged that the crime involved great violence, great bodily harm, or acts demonstrating a high degree of cruelty, callousness, or viciousness. Prosecutors further stated that the offense was carried out with planning, sophistication, or professionalism, and that Ashley took advantage of a position of trust or confidence to commit the crime.
Ashley pled not guilty. She also waived her right to a preliminary hearing within 10 days. Judge McGregor also granted a temporary gag order requested by Ashley's defense attorney. The order prohibited Sheriff Bill Brown and his department from commenting on the case or releasing any evidence or documents that are not already part of public record. During the court proceedings, Prosecutor Jordan Lockey announced that the Santa Barbara County District Attorney's Office would not seek the death penalty against 40-year-old Ashley Buzzard. Instead, prosecutors will pursue a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. The decision sparked outrage among Melodee's paternal family. According to Melodee's uncle Marvin, prosecutors should have pursued capital punishment. He expressed his anger, saying, "What she did is despicable. For what she did, the punishment should be a lot worse." At a news conference later that day, Sheriff Brown addressed Melodee's family directly, who he said endured unimaginable pain throughout this ordeal. He stated, "Their strength, their patience, and their steadfast hope have been evident from the very beginning. No family should ever have to experience this kind of loss, and our hearts are with them today and will be with them in the difficult days ahead. May God bless the innocent soul of Melodee Alani Buzzard, who we will never, ever forget." Ashley is currently being held without bail at the Northern Branch Jail in Santa Maria. Her next court appearance is scheduled for January 7th, 2026. As this episode will be released after that date, any public update from that hearing will be added to our pinned comment. As with all cases that have yet to go to trial, Ashley Buzzard is considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
With Ashley finally behind bars, the community came together to honor the little girl's memory. In the days following Ashley's arrest, residents visited the home in Vandenberg Village, covering the property with flowers, candles, and stuffed animals. Regarding Melodee's funeral arrangements, Lily reported, "We have no idea about the services. They will let me know right away when the body is going to be at the funeral parlor. Then we go from there and see about services." Lily also warned the public about fraudulent GoFundMe campaigns created in Melodee's name, saying, "Please don't send any money to none of those GoFundMes because, we really don't need it. It's already covered by the state. So whatever is left, if there is any money that they need, I got the money, I can pay for it and my family."
If Melodee's case resonated with you, then please click here to check out the case of Emmanuel Haro, also of California, who as of the date of this recording in January of 2026 has yet to be found.